Albie. My primary fat roll is expanding at a massive rate. It's kicked into like hyperspace.
So we're starting to be good tomorrow.
Yeah,
Is what you're telling
this
me.
is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Okay. On other pieces of business, something funny?
Nothing. I love your shirt too.
Is this the dog actually right now needing to go out?
Always.
Sally, can you let Pepper out, please?
When we come in here to do the podcast, she decides she wants to go out.
Okay, sorry about that. Incredible. So the dog needs to go out at this moment right now. I had been asking her if she wanted to go out for the last 37 minutes, and no. But there you go. The dog is going out. That's fine.
I like your new bluey shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I like it too. These are, because I do very well, you can get these at Walmart for about $7 each.
Bob Quiet, so it was Bluey's parents. What are their names?
Oh, Dasher?
No. Do you know Bluey's sister's name?
Yeah, Bingo.
Yep, Bingo and Bluey. They're both girls.
Yeah, the father's name is Tippett?
Bandit,
yes. Okay. I would have maybe eventually gotten there. The mother, I don't know.
Chili
Okay.
and Bandit.
It's a great show. Sorry about that, but it's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I'm looking around here today, and if you follow me, by the way, follow our Food Show All You Can Eat podcast. Follow me on TikTok, for frig's sake, please, and like something that I do and repost it if you're on TikTok. I don't get it. I am the most inconsistent TikToker in the world. It's ridiculous. Sometimes I'll get like 118 views. Sometimes I'll get 100,000 views. One time I got 1.8 million views. What do you want from me? Not you guys, TikTok. I mean, like, what does it want from me? It's so inconsistent. Sometimes for no reason, I post what everybody else posts and I get a strike for it. It's like a freaking thing. Just come on.
Good thing Congress is about to ban it, so.
I know. I've heard. Yeah. You know, as long as everybody gets banned, I'm fine. It is. I have gotten used to using it, though. It is, like, really easy to use. I don't see that there's an equivalent here. But like, going...
I mean, Instagram Reels. Kind of.
Oh, okay. I don't do that, so maybe... Is that the one where you have, once you're in, and if you try to back out, they hurt you?
No, that's Threads.
Oh, Threads. Okay. Oh, Instagram Reels. Okay. Yeah. It makes me do...
and you can post Reels on Facebook, too.
Instagram makes me do Reels
I
sometimes.
watch a lot of Facebook Reels, but it's all, like, people baking things.
Yeah. I
don't really consume political content that way, so I don't know what you would do.
I'm Facebook free of political stuff. There's people on Facebook now who are putting me on notice. They're going to track the price of bread, and if it goes up with Trump, then they're going to let me know that I'm responsible. Of course, for the past 4 years, their guy, I didn't let them know. You know, nobody had to be notified that they were in trouble.
But the point is, too, to be fair, prices probably aren't going to go down on groceries, like literally go down. But what will happen is that the economy will improve, and kind of like Bezos was talking about on that thing we were listening to the other day, where he was saying he was optimistic about Trump because he was saying, like,
I have a question
we're going to grow our way out of the problem. We're going to grow our way out of the problem. And that's what it'll be economic growth. Like when Reagan fixed the Carter inflation, the prices didn't go back down, right?
Eventually, yeah.
No, but didn't the economy get better?
Yes.
And people made more money, and so then, like, their purchasing power was improved. So
right.
It's like, and now I realize that
Reagan put the country through 2 years of pain in order to shrink inflation.
But Biden put us through like 3 years of pain so far. So I assume we'll get there eventually. But like probably what's going to happen is not that prices will actually literally go down, but that people's purchasing power will go up because the economy will improve and will grow. And I realize that recently, you know, wages have started to grow a little bit faster than inflation as inflation has gotten less severe. Mm-hmm. However, you know, they still haven't caught up to where they were in terms of purchasing power 4 years ago.
Can I run something by you here?
Yes. What do you see?
I have an email here. It says your commuter plan 2024 WEX spending reimbursement account statement is now available.
Okay, we don't have a commuter one. We only have a healthcare one.
Okay. I have an email here that says your commuter plan 2024 WEX spending reimbursement account statement is now available.
We don't put any money in your
so
commuter
this
one
is not like my
because
EBT.
we don't use any. That's a benefit at your work.
Okay.
It's a commuter flexible spending account. So if you like used a train to commute to work every day, then you could put money in that account and spend it tax free on your commute. But we don't do that.
Don't tease me like this, WEX spending, whatever you are. I want
just
more.
know what things are. How do you think I find out what things are?
Well, you're a font of falsities because you told me I wasn't getting an EBT card.
Well, I assumed it was a scam because most times when you get a text that says you have a card with free money that you're getting in the mail, most of the times that is a scam.
I am clicking on every single one of those going forward and giving out bank account information.
No, don't
yes,
do
I
that.
am. Yes, I am. That EBT thing was the highlight of the last 30 years of my life. Finally, I got mine. Finally. Okay, so let's talk about what's in the news here.
Okay,
today.
first of all,
okay,
can I hit you with one quick news story first?
Please.
And I believe I sent you this link. There is an Oregon lawmaker, I believe, who's in trouble. I need to get your quick opinion on if she's guilty or not guilty. I texted you the news story as well as sending it to you on
you
on Twitter.
You are fully operational. You can play audio.
Oh, it's not an audio playing thing. I just need to get your quick opinion based on you physically looking at the story.
Okay.
About whether she's guilty or not guilty. It's in your text
let me check
as
my
well
text.
as on there. I'm trying to see. I sent you so many things having to do with various things about this healthcare CEO killer that it's like buried now in my email. Anyway, this Oregon lawmaker is in trouble because she apparently, according to the allegations, forced a male staffer to maintain a sexual relationship with her.
Oh, this is a lawmaker because I sent Tim and Canton one with a lawyer who forced an aide.
No, lawmaker. Let me resend it to you. Anyway, so here's what she did. Not Oregon, Washington. Washington state lawmaker bullied a male aide into sex and made him run her errands and tried to fire him when he reported
sent to Tim
her.
And Canton.
Emily Klaus, 30, is said to have begun a mutually consensual dating relationship with the unnamed man after being elected as a county commissioner in Thurston County, which includes the state's capital of Olympia. But the aide alleges he felt unable to reject her advances because of the power she held over him and said he found the romance increasingly unwelcome. It was clear to the plaintiff that if he wanted to remain employed, he would need to continue his personal, intimate relationship of a sexual nature with Commissioner Klaus. She exploited him into driving her around, buying her food and drinks, and loaning her cash, which she never repaid. He branded her an abuser and reported her in July. And then she tried to fire him 30 minutes later and accused him of sexually assaulting her.
He branded her
an abuser
because she kept forcing him to be romantic with her.
Yes.
Yeah, he needs to be executed. Absolutely. She is absolutely adorable.
She has the cow nose ring thing.
We love her. We love everything
and
about her.
rainbow hair.
We love everything about her. Nobody was forced to do anything. You're a guy and you're heterosexual, so there's no forcing happening, especially if she's attractive like that. There's no such thing. Men are not women. If an attractive woman wants to be with you, have sex with you, as a guy, there is no forcing at all that's happening. That is incorrect. Unless he's gay, the man is not capable of being forced. It's not true. That's not true. This is ridiculous. Can you imagine? Oh my God. I would, believe me, I'd be married to this chick. I would absolutely. She's absolutely lovely.
Even if they're crazy. What if your old program director from TKK was forcing you into a relationship with her?
That's not. No, first of all, it wasn't. There was an attractive one too. There's not if you're just crazy
She's
and
kind
not
of attractive.
if you're just crazy and not attractive, then it's a waste. You have to be attractive to make the crazy, palpable. That's what it's got to be. Absolutely. No. Yeah. There are some relationships where if the wife throws a cell phone at the husband's head and cuts him open so he's bleeding, where that could be like seen as it, like over. But some men appreciate crazy. And so it's just part of
I guess we're meant for each other, honey.
Yeah. So no, yeah, she is fine. Absolutely. He's a disgrace. I can't believe it. And then this happened. I don't know if it happened in my own generation, but these like dudes who are sleeping with these teachers who were then telling like the cops and stuff, that is so shameful. So there's no bigger disgrace on the earth than that. You've got something good going with an attractive teacher, and you're gonna let the world know. And so that she has to get arrested, for making your life awesome? It's so wretched. It's so wretched. Meanwhile, we've got like all these. You know what? I was thinking about that too today. For like I showed you the picture of like the guy with the son who was pretending to be a girl who's like 6 and his hands are all over his own son.
Yeah,
it's like inappropriate. And I thought of Pete Hegseth. And like him getting plastered and hooking up with some married women and on all sorts of like the details of what happened like with him, and like he's a guy who's getting wasted, going to bars and events where women are very willing to hook up with him, and he never hits the brakes, or for a while never hit the brakes because it seemed like better than going to bed alone at the time. And I thought about that, and I thought, like, yeah, there are guys who are almost cursed with really good looks who don't have to do much work for whatever. And there's, he's ruined a couple of marriages, his own and other people's, because of it, etc. And that's not good. That said, if I look like Pete Hegseth and was not with you, obviously, but I was walking around and all these gorgeous women, I don't know what I'd do with that power. I don't know, but I don't know. But so I think about that, and I think, okay, should this guy is that enough of a pattern of moral failings where I don't think he should be in the White House? And the piling on now has me all for him more than ever.
It's the same moral failing that like every Kennedy has had.
Oh, well, no, but like, this is what I'm saying. It's like the piling on has me all for him more than ever now, because I can understand. There are guys who just love ladies and go out, and each new woman is a wonderful. It's like guys are programmed generally in his direction, but have to do stuff to restrain themselves, or just don't have the opportunities. So I get that, and it's a way to live, and whatever. Now that said, if you told me straight Pete Hegseth, when he was a teacher, organized the Gay Straight Alliance for the first time so that he could talk about the gay voyage that you teenage boys were taking, to me, I would look at that and say, no, we're done. We're done. But that's the whole thing.
And if Pete Hegseth told you that his 30-year-old female attractive boss was sexually abusing him by forcing him to sleep with her,
well, right,
you would be like questionable. Or
Hegseth, I'll take it. He's a cad, okay? He's a
or
cad
if he
who
was
likes to party.
touching his trans child like that video.
Right, exactly. But what I'm saying is, like, yes, the moment you tell me we love to run the pick six, that is when I'm saying, okay. Okay, yeah, I can't, you're hiding something to your core. And you also lied about, like, and it's the fact that the media all told us that we still have to love Tim Walz. No, you have to like him. No, he's great. What do you mean he's folksy? Oh, he was reaching out and helping teenagers with their sexuality. The straight football coach. It's like those same people are telling me that you can't have Hegseth in there. He's got a drinking problem. He drank on the St. Patrick's Day show. Am I supposed to like him less because of that? Of course he did. Because he's not an a-hole. He's a red-blooded American man they're throwing booze at him, he'll have him. When I was on with Michael Graham, I remember it was the greatest thing ever. This was a good Michael Graham moment. The Jim Cook had come in and had poured a bunch of beers in the studio. Like this one, he was pouring them and telling them, this is this one, this one, this one is this, whatever. The new like stock of seasonal beers. And Michael was trying the beer, and Jim Cook was talking about it. Jim Cook, whenever he came in studio, he gulped down beers too. He was not messing around. And I remember Jim Cook left, and Graham sucked down the beers right there. Because, well, of course you do. You're not supposed to. In radio, it's a thing, whatever. But it's like, yeah, because he's a man, and men like free beer, and men like beautiful women. And to me, that might show a lack of discipline and, and immaturity, whatever. Talk about Hegseth, but I can see it. And it's not weird. It's not effed. It's like it's what men are supposed to be like in their rawest form. You're supposed to refrain yourself and all, and people are hurt.
Did you listen to him on Megyn Kelly? Tommy in New Hampshire is raising it in the chat. He thought the interview on Megyn Kelly was kind of over the top. That they talked a bunch about Jesus and stuff.
Oh, okay. I saw a little bit of it. I mean, I thought that she's not thrilled with the way he's acted. But I mean, I don't know if his Jesus thing is an act or not, and I don't know. But sometimes we went on with one of the guys, the Benghazi guys. We went out with him, me and Alice and
Tonto.
Yeah, Chris Pronto, and he's the crazy one at 13 Hours. We went out with him, and we went out with Alice, Adriana Cohen, a bunch of dudes, whatever. We went out. We all bought him drinks. We all had a good night. And the next morning or overnight or 3 a.m, he texted Alice or DM'd her with a message that said, "Hey, girl." And he also was kind of hitting on another Herald colleague of mine, kind of being flirty, etc. And do I think that Chris, Tonto would have nailed you or Adriana? Of course. Of course. He's good at being a soldier. All the other stuff, of course he's going to do whatever he can. Yeah, there are guys like that, obviously.
I'd say a lot of guys are like that.
Well, right. But Tonto at that moment was feeling a little bit of fame. So he's chances not. I'm sure they're all married, but whatever. But of course, and this idea that that all these reporters who were talking about the old lion of the Senate, Teddy Kennedy, suddenly had a big problem with somebody working in government who was drinking and date raping. Give me a freaking break. Give me a break, DC reporters. I have no time for it. And by the way, they're all freaking dirtbags. Anyway, half of the DC freaking reporting population of men got Me Too'd. They're all dirtbags. They're all freaking dirtbags. It's just if you're a guy, and I had this happen once. There was, when I was working in radio, there was this a producer we hired. She was a gorgeous producer. And one of the other producers was a married guy. She treated him like a tutor, a tutor,
mentor.
Yeah, mentor, and almost like a parental figure, whatever. She was beautiful and awesome and fun, and she still is actually. But we had a radio event, and she lived it up at the radio event, so she was trashed and really pretty, and she was really young at the time. He was married. And he, and we'd talk about, he was my age, so we were kind of older than everybody else, and so we'd talk about all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
But he told me the next day that she was lying on him on a cab ride home, and her face was resting on his neck, and she was wearing a low-cut top, and she was really nudging into him and snuggling a little bit, etc. And they got the cab and they drove her to, she was staying at a hotel in town, whatever. And I said, wow, you must have loved that cab ride. That was great. And he said, it was the most painful 30 minutes I've ever dealt with in my life. The most painful 30 minutes. Because he was stopping every natural urge. And he probably had a clear green lights if he wanted to. But every natural urge of his was, obvious, like any guy. Of course, he'd be like, oh, yeah, it didn't help. And that's why, like, so, yeah, a good-looking guy in the middle of Washington, D.C., getting laid a lot, I am not really shocked. Or Manhattan, whatever. And I just don't, I think it's BS what they're trying to do to the guy. I don't like them. I like Hegseth just fine. Fine, he drinks a lot. A lot of people drink a lot. A lot of people who do a good job at a lot of stuff drink a lot. A lot of people who are the most talented people in the world drink a lot, or smoke a lot, or have other things they do. There's nobody who's not a weirdo in some way anywhere. Everybody was.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Syria, no. Assad's in Moscow. The government's gone. Everything's a disaster. All the smartest people in the world
So the best thing
definitely
about
wasn't
this,
going to happen until it did.
best thing about this is, and Toast, you're exempted from this. Mr. Toast is exempted.
Dr. Toast.
Dr. Toast is exempted. The best thing about this is that he's a dentist. Assad. And so we don't like dentists other than Mr. Toast. So yeah, he's gone. Do we have a real dog in the fight? Right. I mean, well, actually, I guess we're putting a dog in the fight because Biden said we have to rebuild it today, apparently in a speech. Actually, let me see if I can find some of that speech. It's like,
so, I mean, and they've been saying Assad has to go since 2012. I think Hillary Clinton said that. Yeah. During all the Arab Spring stuff. Is that when that was? And like, clearly he didn't have to go, but until he did, I mean, no love lost with Assad, obviously, but I don't think what's about to happen is good either.
Essentially,
like,
Al-Qaeda
this
won.
is Al-Qaeda / ISIS, and there's no... I mean, that's fine. We can be happy Assad's not there, but like, I don't think that necessarily means anything good's going to happen. But how much does it just show you that all the smartest people in the world, all the adults in the room who do very serious foreign policy are just like constantly caught off guard by everything that happens all the time?
Right.
They're always surprised. Jake Sullivan, surprised by October 7th, surprised by this, surprised by that. The Biden administration, all surprised
Jake Sullivan, surprised by October
Syria.
7th, and goes and tries to pull an article.
Yeah, that he wrote about how peaceful they just made the Middle East.
How amazing is that?
So, I mean, yeah, this is going to be terrible. There's going to be loads more Syrian refugees everywhere, just like there was from the Obama administration. The Biden administration is truly a continuation of the same terrible people from the Obama administration who thought they were so freaking smart that
Harvard
they knew what
School
they were
of
doing.
Government. It's like, no, you have to think fourth level thinking.
And I don't pretend to be some kind of foreign policy expert because, like,
we will help ensure stability in eastern Syria, protecting any personnel, our personnel, against any threats. And remain our mission against ISIS will be maintained, including the security of detention facilities where ISIS fighters are being held.
So, and did you see we just bombed a bunch of stuff there, a bunch of ISIS targets.
Oh no!
In the last couple hours.
I didn't know. Okay,
we've done a whole big thing. So we're obviously involved.
So Alice, let me ask you this: Joe Biden just said that we will maintain the security of these prisons where thousands of ISIS are being kept. What will the outcome of that be?
We're not going to maintain the prisons.
Those ISIS fighters will be back in Toyotas, minivans, pickup trucks.
Well, yeah, and the administration is saying that, like, they're optimistic. Oh, so far, the Al-Qaeda affiliate that's running Syria, they're saying all the right things. Oh, good. Okay. Is this just like how we were, like, cautiously optimistic about the Taliban running Afghanistan after we just let them take it over?
When Blinken put out the memo, you better treat women well. Oh, yeah, we're going to.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. You just told us not to take over the country and your air base and force the leaders of the country to flee. But and we did that. But, yeah, we'll definitely treat women right. Of course we will.
To Assad now, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
what does the U.S. know?
He's walking away.
What does the U.S. know about where Austin Tice might be and if he's safe?
Turns around.
We believe he's alive. We think we can get him back, but we have no direct evidence of that yet. And Assad should be held accountable.
Have you directed an operation to go get him, Mr. President?
Is Assad in Moscow? Austin Tice.
We won't want to get him out.
Yes, sir.
We have to identify where he is. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's not that long, but is it actually okay that he's still president for the next more than a month? 40
it's not
whatever
okay.
days?
It's not okay. And by the way, Alice, and we talked about, obviously one of the reasons why these rebels were able to advance is that Assad is not getting as much help from the Russians or the Iranians who have been. The Russians have been ensnarled in Ukraine. Iranians getting his ass kicked by the Israelis. But how much of it also is
Which are both wars that we fund, by the way. obviously.
exactly. In some ways, both sides too. And how much of that as well is the rebels saying, "Wait, there's no United States right now.
Yeah.
There's no United States."
Nobody's going to do anything.
Right. And if they do, they're idiots. They keep trusting us because Jake Sullivan comes over here and tries to out-nuance us with third-level
They
thinking.
kumbaya us.
Jake Sullivan calls us the Levant and thinks he's being deep, so we're like, oh, yeah, well we promise.
Well, right. It's like the same thing, like how Putin saw Afghanistan happen and was like, I don't think the U.S. is going to do much right now if I just start invading countries. And they know that they have limited time right now before Trump's president. I mean, like the world leaders right now, if you look at Trump's Europe tour that he's doing with the Notre Dame Cathedral thing, which had me in absolute tears yesterday night, like the singing and it was so just moving. And I love Notre Dame and I love Amazing Grace. I don't know. It was tearjerkery.
So the
for me,
singer sang Amazing Grace, if you don't know, and Alice was...
I thought it was very beautiful.
Of course it
Anyway,
was.
Jill Biden's there. Who
I
was
know.
with them? Ashley Biden or
Yes.
somebody? One of their
Jill and
grandchildren?
Ashley were like Google-eyed.
Trump was there chatting with them, hanging with Macron. He's visited England, the British royal family. J.D. Vance was hanging with Kemi Badenoch in England, who's that like MP that everybody liked to be conservative prime minister, but she was defeated by like the more establishment people, but she's sort of that like young black woman firebrand.
This because you've talked about.
But he's talking to Macron. There's a picture of Trump with Meloni right now, Giorgia Meloni, the Italian prime
Yeah, we like
minister,
her.
where she's all over him. She's single again too, by the way. I think
What a
so. I
mess.
think she divorced her husband. But just like everybody's acting like he's the world leader right now because Biden's just like absent from all of this.
Yeah.
He didn't go to France. He didn't go see any of these people. He's not there. Kamala's obviously not there. She's like drinking with her baby nieces or whatever she's doing. Like, she's not interested in running the country at all. So right now there's like nobody at the wheel, period, the end. And even like when we had on the Sunday shows, and I didn't watch all of them because I had to go to a birthday party for not a cool adult birthday party, but a little kid's birthday party. It was like they were asking other like foreign policy experts, but at least I didn't see. Did you see anyone from the Biden administration go on to talk about Syria or foreign policy or anything on any of the shows?
I did not.
Did they talk
no,
about what
no.
they're doing? Like, did they send somebody out? Wouldn't that be the thing? Wouldn't you
You would
have Jake
think-
Sullivan out there? Wouldn't you have
I
like
don't know.
someone? Like,
I
because
mean,
remember before when Benghazi and all that stuff happened, remember they sent Susan Rice all around to everywhere? Like, you would, and they had people out there during all the Afghanistan stuff. Like, where is the administration right now? There's just nobody there. It's like no one's home.
Well, I mean, you had Biden give the briefing we just
Well,
played.
right.
which was-
Yeah, but and he walked out. Like, and it wasn't, but they're not going around and like answering questions from people.
Right.
Or
no.
talking to the American people about what's going on or what their plan is or what they're doing. They've just like checked out of doing anything.
Well, but they've checked out, but like you said earlier, that they didn't forecast this. They didn't expect this to happen, so they don't know where they are anymore on this. Like they thought that they had a sustainable stalemate for a while in Syria, and no, and now it's over. Now
And
the
frankly,
Assad's
like-
gone, and now they don't know who is running the place
and
now.
Israel's like grabbing parts of Syria supposedly temporarily as like additional buffer zone, which I mean, like, I don't necessarily blame Israel for not wanting to be next door to Al Qaeda, but I mean, like, what is anybody? I mean, I feel like Israel also feels empowered because the United States isn't there.
Which we like, actually.
They're going to be like, yeah, we're just going to do what we're going to do. Nobody's coming to help us. Nobody's coming to do anything about any of this. So we're just going to, I mean, like, Iran could fall before Trump is president right now. Like, and none of them is going to do anything about it.
No. First of all, there has been. Remember, we're a jilted lover. This Jake Sullivan and what's his name? Who's the Secretary of State? Blinken.
Mm-hmm.
We're jilted lovers. Those people wanted so desperately to have the Iran deal expanded, to be doing this nuanced nuclear inspections and this and that, and a way to walk Iran over to have a nuclear weapon. Because if we lead with an offer, with a carrot, then the Iranians will actually be good faith actors. Since effing when, you idiots. So yeah, no, they don't know where to be in some of this stuff, because everything that they had hoped for has been dashed now. And so now they're going to rebrand this new group who's taking over as the good guys.
Moderates.
Right, the moderates.
Moderate rebels.
And by the way, of course, our guys are the rebels that our CIA is embedded with. Of course, didn't do well. It's it's amazing. It's amazing. That's it.
It's also like you can sense some desperation, because there were all these people that were saying Tulsi was like big buddies with Assad.
Mm-hmm.
So now I feel like they've kind of lost that talking point too.
Oh yeah, she not only she's big buddies with Assad, but according to some Democrats, she was a Russian asset. Mm-hmm. According to the Sunday shows we saw, where they said, according to some Democrats, she's a Russian asset. Well, why don't you guys do a little more digging rather than according to some Democrats?
Yeah, in what sense is she a Russian asset, other than like people's fever dreams on like boomer Facebook posts?
Right. I went back and forth with Dan Kennedy and Sue O'Connell. It was saying, yeah, she's a Russian asset. She doesn't have to know she is. Like, shut the up. Oh, so sick of it.
Because she's parroting Russian talking points, right?
Russians are sometimes right.
I know.
It's just amazing. Trump had a long...
By the way, did you notice, and I said this to you at the time, but I'm curious if anyone else notices, Trump's like switched up his look. He's doing like navy suit and gold tie now instead of he's always done the red tie. And Jake Tapper today did, on the State of the Union, had a navy suit with a gold tie.
Jake Tapper's very upset, Alice, because Trump said he was going to throw people in jail.
Mm-hmm.
He said that people in the J6 committee who had thrown out evidence should go to jail. And Jake Tapper said, "You heard that right. The sitting member, President of the United States, the President-elect, just
yeah,
said..."
I love this. Trump's like, if people break the law, they should go to jail. And the media's like, oh my God, he said he's going to throw people in jail.
Yeah.
Like, did you miss the qualifying statement?
Here's my favorite part is that, and this comes from that same thing where you like, everybody's allowed to have a Justice Department and do justicey things, including look for corrupt people and people destroying evidence. It's as a matter of course in D.C., the establishment says that's okay, but not Trump.
Right.
When it's Trump, well, hold on. No. And then that's why she tried to, Kristen Welker tried to, is it bring him to bear, or did I get that wrong before? Bring him to heel. How about to heel?
Okay.
Bring him to heel. But with her alpha chick attempt today.
It's not an alpha chick thing. It's like she had like the craziest, most angry HR lady eyes.
Yeah, but she
looked like she was
know.
like out of control.
She doesn't know how to be herself because they taught her you should be strong like a guy. So it's just so weak. So listen to this. Trump's answer to this, with all her full like blitz on him of, now, sir, it's about time that you just admit something, sir. Let's get this started off clean slate. His answer is wonderful.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No.
I freaking love that. Nope. No, but it makes us all very upset and nervous about your presence. No. Not a freaking ice water in the veins. Not a freaking care. I love it. I love it. I mean, the guys, they are so weak. Sir, can you be? You know what it was like? There were Democrats, you probably don't remember, but after the year 2000 election, there were thoughtful editorials and pundits everywhere saying, after they called the counting for Bush finally, said, since this election has come down to just a few hundred votes, it's very important that George W. Bush share the presidency with Al Gore. He needs to. He needs to share the presidency. And it's like this whole thing where they have this.
It's the same thing they're doing now where they're like, did he really win the popular vote by enough for him to have a mandate? Like, sorry, guys, there is no such thing as a mandate. That's a made-up thing.
Right.
You win the Electoral College, and then you're the president, and you have the same powers as every other president, whether you win 49 states like Reagan 84, or whether you squeak out a 270 Electoral College win. Like, you have the exact same powers as president. There's mandates are fake.
And you had a bunch of pundits, and this plays into the Hunter Biden thing too. A bunch of pundits say, Biden had to pardon Hunter, and these other pardons that he's going to do, he's got to do that because the Democrats, Biden administration looked around and said, wait, look at Trump. He's not following any of the rules. Why don't we just, say F it and do pardons like play dirty like him? And when they say that, what they're missing is that was the thinking that ambushed his first term, his first election win. They said this guy is so uncharacteristic. His election can't be valid. I mean, he may have had the Steele dossier stuff too. No, he doesn't act like us. He doesn't play by the rules. He yelled at Jeb Bush, and Jeb's gone now. Because this guy is different than all the guys we're used to there. And he actually said John McCain's not a hero, which you don't say in DC. You don't say that. They said, okay, since he's different, we're going to break all the rules. Okay, Peter Strzok, your girlfriend? Peter Strzok was the number 2 at the FBI at the time, by the way.
It's crazy.
And like okay, we're all going to break the rules because we have to, because he's different than we're used to. And they all found a reason to be corrupt as hell. As hell. And they keep saying that, because he acts differently. He doesn't act like Jeb Bush. We all have to do what we can on our own to break the rules to try to take him down. And okay, all it does is make you corrupt, makes you villainous and corrupt, and it makes you dirty players, and it makes you dirtier than him because you've convinced yourself that he is such a malevolent force that we have to do whatever it takes. Doesn't matter. From the media to the Department of Justice, etc. And that's the hilarious thing is they have it so freaking backwards. But we talk about this all the time. But that's what it is. Like everything that they say that he's doing, they're doing. And which is great because he mentioned Tulsi Gabbard. Once again, they've dusted off.
Very important.
Yes.
Intelligence officials are very worried about Tulsi Gabbard.
Absolutely. To
like,
me,
guys, you used this one already.
Yeah, you've already used this one. It didn't make any sense. You're effing liars, all of you. Anthony Blinken set the last one up. It's like, to me, that's a full endorsement. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're freaking nervous that she's going to tell Putin. I don't care if she tells Putin. I don't care if she goes to her friend Assad and tells and is a loyalist to him. I don't care. These people, the Biden administration, is the most damaging, most malevolent administration that we've ever had. And everybody's got a reason. Everybody has a reason.
By the way, I think Tulsi's about to be proven totally right about Assad, which is the idea that Assad sucks, but there's stuff out there that's way worse than Assad.
Did you want to talk about the CEO who had it coming for a second? Do you want to wait for the chat? For the Patreon.
Well, let's just briefly mention about this killer, the CEO healthcare killer. I want to talk more about healthcare and the magical thinking people have about like the healthcare industry and healthcare policy on the other side in the Patreon talk and discuss that more. But I mean, I just want to quickly kind of talk about the psychology of this guy because obviously like a lot of planning clearly went into this. This guy thinks he is such a genius. He had his face covered for days in the hostel. He left his backpack there filled with Monopoly money. He wrote like delay, defend, deny or whatever on the bullets named after like the book about the healthcare CEOs. So he's set this up to look like he is Mr. Clever Pants. Like he thinks he's done this untraceable crime. I'm sure they already know who he is. I'm sure they like have ID'd him. They have, for example, like they have his water bottle that he got from Starbucks. So like they have DNA. I'm sure they've ID'd him. They're supposedly getting a ton of tips from the Atlanta area where the Greyhound bus originated, and they've set up an operation down there too. So I'm sure that's where he's going to be. And like, but they're going to get, this is not like a mastermind serial killer. He just thinks that he is.
Right.
And you can see it even in the like cocky way he's smiling at the girl in the hostel. And
yeah, no, he's some incel sociopath, obviously, who I would say usually these people are delusional, but he's right. Half the country thinks he's a hero, so he's right about that.
yeah, well, I think, I guess we'll see, but I think he's going to look like less of a hero and like a pathetic loser freak when they finally catch him, because I don't think he's as great. He's not like some special hired assassin guy. He set himself up to like look like he is.
Yeah.
But the more that comes out about it, he thinks he's the Joker from the Batman movies or something. He's like so into himself and his own little thing that he's got set up here. But he's not like, they're going to catch him. I think they're going to catch him.
And it's also interesting is like every Sunday show talked about it, but they talked about 51-year-old CEO made $10 million a year, was gunned down.
And then they brought on Ro Khanna to talk about how mean healthcare is.
And then they talked about how bad the healthcare system is. Like, at no point do they try to do a human interest story about this guy, his family, his charitable giving, how he met his wife. He's the real story, like, at all. There's been nothing on this guy. Right. All we know is he's a CEO, a bad, mean CEO of a mean company that made $10 million while he killed 68 million people.
By the way,
it's amazing.
And we'll talk about this more on the other side when we get into the healthcare system. But you would think with all this focus on this, you would be able to find like one anecdotal story. And maybe there will be, maybe they'll find one anecdotal story of somebody who died because something was denied by their insurance. I have yet to see one. I have a lot of people online saying that gazillions of people die all the time because their healthcare claims are denied. I've seen claims about hospitals billing people outrageous amounts. I've seen things about claims being denied and then subsequently on appeal, then they're allowed. I have yet to see one, and
they tried to stop the anesthesia, Alice. They tried to stop the anesthesia.
Yeah, I want to talk about the anesthesiologist thing in the Patreon chat. We're going to discuss that because people are like, everyone's crazy when it comes to healthcare policy, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm like very down about everybody's intelligence in talking about healthcare policy and how we're going to be able to move forward without socialized medicine in this country. But I don't know. We'll talk about that on the other side. For right now, let's have the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline chat brought to us by Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce, because I believe there were a lot of messages in there.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Alice.
Hey, Rudy.
So Boston City Council on Thursday voted 13-0 to reaffirm that it is a sanctuary city and city employees are not allowed to help federal agencies with illegal immigrants. As I said when I was in college there, Boston is the most white, liberal, racist city I ever lived in, and I nicknamed it the sewer by the sea.
Oh, my goodness.
This is complete garbage. Boston's going to get what they asked for. And the sad thing is your governor is going to tax everyone in the state a lot more money to pay for this garbage, this shithole mess that Boston is. Sorry, but have a great day.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right on all of that,
at least
Rudy.
our first illegal immigrant Boston city councilor is still going strong.
That's right. What was that? Oh, yeah, that's Sue O'Connell. So,
No.
Did you say that? Did you play that? Have you seen that?
I don't know about the Sue O'Connell thing.
Okay, so
but
listen.
This woman who's under arrest
Yes.
by the FBI for corruption, she's our first illegal immigrant city councilor.
Yes.
First, like, I don't know. She's a Muslim convert, black woman, whatever. She was an illegal immigrant here. She's married to a guy in prison for first-degree murder.
Right.
She got elected to the Boston City Council, immediately hired a bunch of her relatives and gave them
instantly was corrupt, instantly started
$10,000, $15,000 raises, and took kickbacks from at least one that they've proved.
So on the NBC affiliate here in Boston, Sue O'Connell, who's somebody I've known for a long time, and I used to go on her show all the time. She's a big progressive. She's asked about this, Alice, and I want you to tell me if her take is brilliant. Have you heard this?
No.
Councilor Fernandez Anderson, she made a lot of history when she was elected. Now we're talking about federal charges she's facing, calls to resign. What do you make of this fall from grace?
You're right, JC. She is a lot of historic firsts. First Muslim, first formally undocumented immigrant, and first African immigrant to serve on the council in Boston's history. But I think we have to acknowledge that this is where we live now. Massachusetts has a long list of lawmakers betraying public trust. Sal DeMacy, Tom Finneran, Dean Tran, Chuck Turner. I could go on. And we have a state police force dealing with a string of controversies. And of course, nationally, we have a president-elect who is a convicted felon. What all these people have in common is that they are humans, and public corruption knows no party, no race, no gender. Councilor Fernandez Anderson was uniquely suited to address and represent the needs of Bostonians. I would say that if she's found guilty, she would have squandered that opportunity, but based on our current reality, it just might mean she's one step closer to higher office.
Is Trump convicted of public corruption, by the way?
No, but also the thing is, like, there's a certain kind of Democrat that always defaults to what the establishment is doing is fine, guys. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely fine. There's no reason to get worked up by this particular one person.
And if it turns out she really did this, as though she's not like the most corrupt person on the planet, she already had to pay a fine. Part of the reason she was giving herself kickbacks out of the bonuses she was giving her relatives was that she couldn't pay the fines for ethical violations for hiring a bunch of relatives.
Yeah, she is garbage, I think it's safe to say. And I think people should feel comfortable
and
calling.
To be clear, the guy that she's married to, who's in prison for first-degree murder, she married him while he was in prison for first-degree murder. So it's not like things just went wrong.
I think this one is good for both podcasts, so we don't need to save it for the all-you-can-eat. Tom, I couldn't help but laugh at your Joe Biden-esque story the other day, where you, Chinese food waiter, a hooker, and a cop were all running the streets of Boston at 3:30 in the morning, and you, being a tall guy, a little bit on the bigger side, were sprinting, and all of a sudden, like, slid under a truck or fit under a truck. What? I'm
that is
sorry,
true,
buddy. I don't believe a single word of that. Who are you, MacGyver, a Magnum PI?
Well, I got caught.
No way that happened.
Yeah.
Tom, who are you with? Corn Pop by now? I mean, that was exaggeration 101. I love you, buddy, but there's no way that happened. But it was definitely good for a chuckle.
So it absolutely happened. It was probably in 93 or 94. And it happened just like that. The only reason I tell this story is it happened just like that. It was amazing. And if you knew the combat zone in those days, it was still kind of the combat zone, all sorts of people were hanging around the restaurant. I think that the hooker and the cop both wanted to be in on the collar because the restaurant was a good HQ for them, or they got taken care of there, or who knows what it was. That's what I think it was. But that's absolutely a true story. It's a story where I try to steal from a restaurant and then run down the street and get apprehended by a sex worker and the waiter, who was the most dedicated freaking waiter, and a cop, and I lose in the end and have to pay anyway. Like, it's not a story where I win, but it was an amazing story, and I was, at the time, even, like, thrilled that it had happened. At the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell everybody. Like, how amazing was this, that this has happened? They have all these people putting on this act. So, yes, it absolutely happened. Believe me, I don't, if I was a person who made up stories, it would be stories where I get the girl, knock out the guy, save the kitten, This is not, this is just what happened. Believe me, I would also wish I would trade my 90s experiences for somebody with more Hegsethyan stories. in a second, the consensual ones. But there aren't many of those. So, so there you are. There.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
Dr. Cheswick in Rochester, Mass.
Where's
And,
Rochester?
it's funny about the mainstream media falling apart and crying and all this. Oh, this baby action is, they're in the death throes. They know that they've lost. They are just, swinging wildly like an animal trapped in a corner. And Trump is already making his mark, just going to that Notre Dame reopening. There were people all over him shaking hands
Totally.
and
He's president.
saying hello, and they're, trying to get into his good graces. And I just want him to lay the smackdown on the rest of the planet in keeping us number one and forcing everyone else to live up to their obligations.
Here we go.
That's what I want.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah, no problem with that whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, they already seem pacified by him. They're like, okay. Like, we don't. Maybe they are actually afraid. It's like this guy's around the time where actuarial tables say that he should be dying soon. He does not give a bleep. He just gets shot. He's like, maybe we'll just default to him for the next couple of years. And I'm all for it, obviously.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Tom, this probably won't get played until Sunday, but
Yeah, sorry.
Dr. Cheswick's message today that referenced The View, I think you missed his point.
Oh, did I?
Because it bothered me, too. You played a very long sound cut from The View twice in a row.
Really?
Inexplicably, without any comment on, I think it was Wednesday's show. So it was, very strange. That's what he was complaining about.
Really?
Thank you.
Twice? Twice? That's worrisome. Was it something you wanted? Because I remember you made us play something a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah, it's me.
You made us play something a couple of days ago that didn't have a point, and I was like, this thing? It must have been Alice. It was Alice who did that. God, that's terrible. I don't like the fact that I don't remember that I just played something 20 minutes ago either. Okay, new message here, Alice.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Tom, this probably won't get played until Sunday, but
Okay.
Dr. Cheswick's message today that referenced The View, I think you missed his point.
All right.
Because it bothered me, too. You played a very long sound cut from The View twice in a row, inexplicably, without any comment on, I think it was Wednesday's show. So it was, very, very strange. That's what he was complaining about.
Oh, that is terrible. Playing the same one, especially that's a lot of View. It's very possible. I don't remember which one that was. It's very possible that was Alice had us play something, because I remember thinking, what's the point of this exactly?
Okay, Tommy Bits. Enough. Get to a new message.
How do you like my bits, Albie?
I like your bits. You're very cute. Good job. Play another message.
Isn't it a wonderful thing that nobody's really talking about J.D. Vance right now?
No.
The spotlight's always going to be on Trump, and obviously it's on the border, and the border czar, and Elon, and Vivek, and all the cabinet picks. But nobody's talking about the biggest pit bull that Trump has, being J.D. Vance. And you know that he is going to help Donald the most when it comes to draining the swamp. And the fact that right now he's really going under the radar with the media, I mean, you don't really hear anybody talk about him, I think is going to be a great thing, because he's going to be the attack dog in office that they needed to have there. And, something that they didn't have before with Mike Pence in office. So it's going to be a great thing. I can't wait.
So I love J.D. Vance. I want more of him. But you're right. If he's doing swamp draining too, that means JD, RFK, Vivek, and Elon. I'm all for it. And let's start here at RFK Jr.'s HHS.gov. Here's their tweet today. Today on Pansexual and Pan-Romantic Pride Day, anybody involved with that first sentence in that tweet needs to be fired. You also need to then find if they have any relatives in government whatsoever and fire them. You also need to see if their relatives have any friends or have ever spoken to anybody in government ever, and fire them. Freaking amazing. HHS.gov. Today on Pansexual and Pan-Romantic Pride Day. Yeah, believe all this. These are all things, you know. It says .gov at the end of the thing we say. So these are all things. We're not effing crazy. Everyone deserves to feel seen, respected, and supported, no matter who they love. Create a world where everyone feels proud to be themselves. Rainbow emoji. Happy Pansexual and Pan-Romantic Pride Day. And there's a graphic here which tells me, in the corner of it says HHS, that they paid somebody to make this graphic. If that entire department needs to be effing deleted immediately and bulldozed. It is so freaking unbelievable. This is what the federal government is doing right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. How do you feel about RFK wanting to ban food dyes?
Is that all I get for that? It's just, yeah.
I mean, I think it's crazy. I sent it to us too.
I want every effer in this freaking building fired. All of them. And I don't care if it means that polio comes back at 1,000 times as worse as it was. And measles, bring them on. I want a new black plague. As long as these fuckers are not employed. Ooh, Anson hitting me hard for Instagram, else.
He knows if he keeps sending you the request to give him Instagram, there's going to be a time when you're going to screw up and say yes by accident.
Right. Yeah, very possibly. Here you go, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
I would so much rather listen to View Cuts than Captain Obvious from Gloucester.
Wow.
That's all.
That is a big hit. That's Janet from Georgia.
Wow.
That is wow, what a sniper kill shot at Steve from Gloucester. Whew, nice, Janet. Nice. Considering Steve accused me of fabricating a story. Not only did that waiter, he ripped my watch off my head. I went back there twice to confront the waiter about my watch. He claimed he had no idea who I was, etc. I got that watch from my dad. It was made of granite. My dad worked for a granite consortium kind of at the time. It was personal to me. Bastard.
Maybe try not stealing next time.
Alice. They have insurance. Okay. It says AI New Hampshire. Does that mean Al in New Hampshire?
It's Al in New Hampshire. I'm pretty sure.
Do I know Al?
I think Al in New Hampshire is the person who met us in Newburyport that time.
Oh!
Who recognized you.
Jesus, Alice. Let me know.
In front of your friend. So
yes.
It was very impressive
Same
to
guy
everybody.
who was driving the car at the Chinese restaurant, as a matter of fact.
Hey, Alice and Tom. This is Al over in New Hampshire. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, listen, I was listening to your show today, and I heard Steve from Gloucester, his passionate, sweet, loving defense of Kirk. Mm-hmm. And Steve, I just really want to say that was embarrassing. That really was. You could not have done more for Kirk unless you were on your knees.
Oh!
It was so embarrassing. Paul from the car made a statement, said Kirk sounded like a punk. And when I heard him go after Mutt, I said the same thing. Mm-hmm. He does sound like a punk. And then you call back to give us your resume, how you were this on the show, and you were third chair. Yeah, ironically, Peter Rabbit was third chair today also on Tom and Alice's show. So, third chair, usually the one closest to the door. Oh. But again, it was embarrassing. I'm sure the kids in grammar school remember you as a kid saying, Mrs. Johnson, you forgot to give us homework. Oh, Mrs. Johnson, don't you look wonderful today? It really was. What an embarrassing defense. Even Kirk has to be embarrassed over that. That was just a humiliating performance on you. If you only knew him the way I know him, were you clutching pearls when you were saying that? It was just utterly embarrassing. But anyways, hey, you like what you like. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Thanks, Al. Nice talking to you again. Let me know where you're going to be, Al, so I can be around so you can notice me. Because it does a lot.
I'm not 100% sure it's the same Al, but that guy's name was Al also.
Well, maybe Steve from Gloucester's, maybe he's moving on and is not personally attacking anymore.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey.
Allow me to defend Paul in the car from the chat assault by the Bindlestiff mendicant parasite from Gloucester. Paul, it's perfectly fine that you don't like Kirk Minahan. It shouldn't necessitate a literally 6-minute oral history of podcasts and how one lowly listener from Gloucester arrived at being a fan of both the Minahan Show and the Burn Barrel. Okay? Spare us. Steve, your messages suck.
Ooh.
Okay? Going forward, though, can you start sucking in under a minute? Jesus Christ, I'm gonna get carpal tunnel syndrome from hitting 30 so much every time I hear the first syllable of a message from you. Oh, and by the way, it's okay that Paul doesn't like Kirk Minahan. Steve, you know how you don't like girls? Well, Paul in the car likes girls. He's a heterosexual.
Oh my goodness.
It's a matter of taste, I guess. So it's okay. It's okay. And by the way, I'll remind Paul in the car, and I'll remind you, and I'll remind all the other listeners, you're the same total asshole that threw Alice and Tom under the bus multiple occasions on the Kirk Minahan show. And you have left and returned to both that show and the Burn Barrel like the total weasel that you are. You know, go ahead, open up both barrels on me, pal, because I'm responding now going forward.
Oh.
Okay? Thank you. Kiss my ass. Oh, by the way, I got 2 VIP tickets to Kirk's show in Guilford. Paul in the car, do you want to be my guest? And we can go and we can take turns kicking Steve in his pussy.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness, Alice. Was something funny, Alice? Very violent.
We have such great listeners. I do want to say people have been talking about doing something for the inauguration. Tom and I have discussed a couple like potential places that might work okay.
What's a Bindlestiff?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Steve must have gone to college.
And I have an email from Julie and Phil asking to help plan something. So I'm going to shoot them an email. And if you want to be involved in helping to plan it, email burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the email to help organize it. Does that sound good to everybody? Of course, you don't have to plan an event if you don't want to. If you just like listening, that's also fine. You can join the Patreon. We have live chats every night. There's some extra content each week. If you're listening on Patreon right now, stay there because we're going to discuss more in a few minutes for you on the other side. If you just like listening for free, you can also do that. burnbarrelpodcast.com. There's links to Spotify, YouTube, all the places like that.
C'est la vie.